64-bit processors are becoming more and more mainstream with Android smartphones, and it's going to be interesting to see over the next 12 to 18 months how the Chinese OEMs use this next generation of processors in their phones. Today we're going to be looking at a new 64-bit device called the Ecoo Aurora E04. It uses an octa-core Cortex A53 processor coupled with a Mali T760 GPU. It has a 5.5-inch display and only costs $190. The way you spell the name of this Chinese OEM is Ecoo. Now I suppose you could pronounce it Ecoo or maybe Ecoo, but I'm just going to go with Ecoo. It's just easier. Taking a look at the design and build, the phone is quite light at just 160 grams and surprisingly easy to hold considering it has a 5.5-inch display. I have always felt most comfortable using a phone with a 5-inch display, and the Aurora E04 is certainly larger than the average 5-inch device. At 156.7mm tall, it is around 1 to 1.5 centimeters longer than a typical 5-inch device. However, at 77.5mm wide, it's only a few millimeters wider. This means that, for me at least, it fits comfortably in my hand, and I don't feel that I am performing any more finger gymnastics than I would with a smaller phone. My test unit is a white model, and so the colouring is chrome and white, but there is also a black model available. Around the phone is a chrome coloured band which is made of plastic. The back cover uses a textured plastic which aids the grip slightly. According to the specs, the bezels are just 2.5mm wide, which means that the phone has a screen to body ratio of 78%. To complement the narrow bezels, the Ecoo Aurora uses 2.5D glass. Sometimes this term can be used without much justification. However, it is true that the glass does curve at the edges and it's rounded at the corners. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that this is achieved more with a kind of factory-fitted glass screen protector rather than by some expensive glass technology. The reason I say that is because there's a little gap around the earpiece which is reminiscent of the way a screen protector is overlaid on a display. However, I could be wrong. Underneath the 2.5D glass there is a full HD 5.5-inch display, the front-facing camera, a set of sensors and the capacitive keys. The home button is a physical button and contains the built-in fingerprint reader. Down the right-hand side are the power button and the volume rocker. Both are easily accessible when the phone is held in your left hand. On the top you'll find the 3.5mm headphone jack and the micro USB port. On the bottom edge are the speaker grills and the microphone. Flipping the phone over you will see the prominent Ecoo logo and the dual LED flash and the camera lens. The 5.5-inch display on the Aurora E04 is good considering the price point. It is an IPS display with a full HD resolution, i.e. 1920 by 1080. That means it has a DPI of 400. Overall, the colour reproduction and definition are good, as are the viewing angles. I found the display to be quite bright in a good sense. Leaving the brightness on auto works well, but whenever I did force the display to maximum brightness, it was just too bright for indoor use. Of course, this is a good thing, as it meant the display is easy to read when outdoors. The phone comes with a 3000 mAh battery, which is about what I would expect for a phone of this size and price. My testing revealed some interesting numbers. Before I started testing the phone, I left it to one side while I worked on some other videos. When the battery went flat, I would charge it again and so on. When I finally got around to testing the unit, I just started using it as it was. The final battery numbers for that first period of real usage was 3 days and 18 hours with 3 hours of on-screen time. Once my testing was fully underway, I was getting around 1 day and 5 hours with about 2.5 hours of screen time. I also ran my customary set of tests. On one charge you'll be able to play intensive 3D games for about 3 hours. GameBench shows that Tower Madness will run for about 5 hours. For those into multimedia, you'll be able to get about 4.5 hours of YouTube streaming from this device on one charge. The phone has 2 speaker grills on its bottom edge. However, there is only one speaker. Covering the right grill muffles the sound as you'd expect. However, the left grill appears just to be for appearances. Overall, the sound is reasonable considering the price point of this phone. Here's a sample so you can judge for yourself. Unfortunately, the GPS performance isn't very reliable. The device is able to get a lock outdoors, however indoors a lock can't be achieved. But the main problem seems to be that the lock isn't stable or very accurate. According to GPS tests, the precision is over 20 feet, some 6 meters. This leaves a big enough margin of error that navigation software like Google Maps or Nokia Here don't always know which road you're on. The Aurora E04 comes with 2GB of RAM, which is good for a phone in this price range. In terms of internal storage, the device comes with 16GB of flash and has a micro SD card slot which can accept cards up to 32GB. Unfortunately, the internal storage is divided into two partitions called internal storage and phone storage. The first is for your apps and the second is for your personal data. The good news is that the first partition is almost 6GB, which should be sufficient to install quite a few apps. The other bit of good news is the apps can be moved from the internal storage to the phone storage from within the settings menu. The phone has a 16MP rear-facing camera and an 8MP front-facing camera. The pictures are crisp and the colour reproduction is good, and overall the camera is what you'd expect for a phone in this price range. The included app looks to be the standard AOSP camera app and offers a few interesting features including HDR and panorama. Overall the app is fairly comprehensive, but it doesn't have any advanced modes or filters. Of course you can always install third-party camera apps, including Google's camera app. If you'd like to see more sample shots, then please check out the written review. The Aurora E04 runs stock Android 4.4.4. You get access to Google Play and all of Google's services like YouTube, Gmail and Maps. Interestingly, the device is rooted by default and comes with Chainfire's Super SU pre-installed. The Fingerprint Scanner is incorporated into the home button, and the software allows you to set the screen to unlock only with your fingerprint. Overall, the scanner and the unlock mechanism work well. The number of misreads was quite low, and I was able to keep the feature activated for quite a while. Personally, I deactivated it, not because the scanner isn't capable enough, but because swiping my finger to unlock the screen became a bit monotonous. As for upgrades, Ecoo has promised to release an over-the-air update to upgrade the phone to Android Lollipop. There is no official release date, however it is expected soon. And so there you have it, the Ecoo Aurora E04, 5.5 inches Full HD display, 2GB of RAM and an octa-core 64-bit processor. It costs just $190 and is available today. My name's Gary Sims from Android Authority. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to use the comments below to tell me what you think about this particular device. Don't forget to subscribe to Android Authority's YouTube channel, where you'll see other videos by my brothers at Android Authority, including Jace, Joe, Josh, Lan, Kevin the Tech Ninja, Ash and Taylor Martin. And as for me, I'll see you in my next video.